Hi folks, book haul time. What will probably be the last video of 2023. I'm going to take like a week off over the Christmas period and chill, spend time with my family I suppose, and hopefully read some books and maybe think ahead to what I want to shoot for January and beyond. But first, and these are all nearly all from a visit to my very productive local Oxfam bookshop, which has pretty good sci-fi section and seems more importantly to have a really good turnover. I think, as I've said before, they occasionally must get a large collection dropped on them and then they just kind of drip feed it onto the shelves as space allows, and I've been hoovering them up as they do that. So I do have some shelf footage. I took my camera and the mic with me last time I was there, so you'll see some of that in a minute, and I'll see you after a few minutes of that and we'll go through the books. Right, so let us have a little look. I'm going to grab these pan horror for a friend so I can send them to them. I don't want them. I've got, actually I don't believe I do have that one. Tragedy of the Moon. I do have the Foundation books. I do have those. In fact, I've got several copies of Currents of Space. I have that. These are nice copies. I'd really love to get the hardbacks of these, but I'm missing one of these and I can never remember which one it is. I have to check. But they're in quite nice condition. I've read that. I don't think I have that Bradbury, so that might be quite nice. I've got Cities in Flight in their separate books. That's two of my favourite authors, Benford and Niven together, so that would be good. I've got that one. I've got a few of the Barker books. I've got the Banks, nice hardbacks in fact. I read the Kevin Anderson's Seven Sons saga and I didn't particularly like it, I must say. So that's short stories. Might have a look at that. Pretty sure I have that. Oh, that's quite a nice corgi copy. Dahlgren I don't have, and that's a lovely copy. I'm going to have that. I just got a copy of the Preserving Machine in the pan lozenge. Pretty sure I have that. I'll have to check. I've got the Feists. Well, I haven't got the Feists. I'm not interested in them. Robert L. Forward, Time Master. Starquake. I think that's the sequel to Dragon's Egg, maybe.
Thank you then. Bye.
I don't have that. I do have the first one, although it's a very rubbish copy. I have that. I'm not particularly interested in those. I can feel it's going to be a good week. This looks like it's mainly fancy on this shelf, or horror. Not interested in either. Oh, look at that. M. John Harrison, Light. I think that's the first book in a space opera, an unusual space opera series of his. So I'm definitely interested in that. Okay, back with the coffee again. So let's go through these gradually. So I picked up a Gardner Dozois Year's Best Science Fiction issue number blah de blah. I think this is 34th annual collection, but this is a US edition, not a UK one. So this in the UK would be the 31st. And I've got up to 29, but I don't have 30 or beyond. And I think there's only one or two more after this. So this covers, I think it's 2016, beg your pardon. So it was published in 2017. So that's got a ton of pretty good authors in it. It's got, let me see, Greg Benford, Paul Macaulay, Aliette de Bodard, Alistair Reynolds, Nina Allen, Stephen Baxter, some that I recognise, Ken Liu, Paolo Bacigalupi, Ian MacDonald, another Alistair Reynolds, etc., etc. And what I've read a few of one of the 30 odd of these that I've got. So it's nice to dip in. I quite like the introduction that Gardner Dozois gives at the beginning of each book, which is like a précis of the preceding year in science fiction, and that's quite interesting in itself. So that's the first one. And then there's a sip of coffee, and then there's a Ray Bradbury, The Golden Apples of the Sun, which might be a short story. I'm not actually sure. I don't know. It might not be short stories. It might be a novel. I can't tell. It's got a long contents page, but they could just be chapters. It doesn't actually say they're short stories, so perhaps we'll go with novel as the default. It's in pretty nice condition, a little bit sun faded in the Granada. That one dates back to originally 53. This is an 1981 reprint. And we've got a Benford and Niven collab, so two of my favourite authors. It's an interesting mix of hard sci-fi and space opera here, so I'd be interested to see how that goes. I think this is the second book. Yeah, it's a sequel to another book called Bowl of Heaven. So this one's called Shipstar. So I'm going to have to find the first one, ideally in a matching Titan Books format, before I can read it. I might have to see if I can find that online. Cheat a little bit. Okay, then there is a short story collection called Cyber Killers, which presumably is cyberpunk in character. So what it says on the back is, wherever tech takes us, you can be sure that there'll be a criminal waiting in the shadows to take advantage of every new opportunity to create mayhem. Computer crime, terrorism on the internet, artificial investigators, virtual murder, the possibilities are endless, and so are the terrors, apparently. I found City in the Stars by Arthur C. Clarke. It's in a pretty nice Corgi science fiction collector's edition. They're science fiction SF collector's library. There are about 10 of them to collect. But they're not, I thought they might be different colours or something, but they're all pretty boring colours. So I don't know if I really want to collect all of them. This is only one that I've got as far as I know. So we'll see. And then we've got Dahlgren by Samuel R. Delany, which is a chunkier book than I thought it was. I gather this is a pretty difficult read. I'm not really sure why or what's difficult about it. So this is a kind of dying earth type thing. So the sun has grown deadly. The world has gone mad. Society has perished. Savagery rules. Savagery rules over all. All that was known is over, and all that was familiar is strange and terrible. Today is yesterday. Today and yesterday collide with tomorrow, and in these dying days of earth, a young drifter enters the city. So that sounds bleak. It's got a sort of rather apocalyptic image on the front. Intriguing. Then we've got a couple of Robert L. Forwards. So Starquake is the sequel to Dragon's Egg. I've got Dragon's Egg, but it's a really tatty copy. This is very nice. I think it's a first edition paperback. Bear with. It was published, first published in 1985, first published in Great Britain in 1988 by New English Paper Library. So this will be a UK first edition paperback. My Dragon's Egg copy is really tatty in comparison to this. This is quite nice. So I might need to get an upgraded Dragon's Egg. I've read Dragon's Egg many years ago. I don't think I've read the sequel. And there's another one here called, what's it called? Time Master. Time Master is a happy romp through a range of new ideas about the universe and what we can do in it. The farthest out concepts of science fiction may turn out to be science fact. Except that, as physicist Robert Ford shows us, the realities and the possibilities beggar our imaginations, as by none of them Paul Anderson. So this is kind of hard sci-fi. It's the tale of Randy Hunter, a billionaire industrialist who communicates with aliens, achieves interstellar flight and explores far-flung worlds in a future filled with technological wonders. The future physics is mind-boggling but firmly grounded in the science of today. The action never stops. Interestingly, I've just noticed the person that previously owned this has made a little note that says bad ending, C-. So they didn't really... I have to have a look now to see if they've done that in the rest of these books. Doesn't look like it. But that's really funny. So that's apparently not very good. C-. Okay, well, what can you do? So we've got M. John Harrison's Light, which is the first of 3 in the, what is it called? Kefahuchi Tract, or the Kefahuchi trilogy. I forget what the others are called. It might not say in here because I think this is the first edition. Yeah, it doesn't. Yeah, this one dates back to 2003. So there are another 2. Can't remember what they're called. I am yet to read any M. John Harrison. I'll make it my business to do so in 2024. This might be a good place to start, although I am missing the other 2. Or I might go with the Centauri device, which is another one that's meant to be pretty good. He is sort of next gen, I guess, new wave author, you could say, but has written some space opera-y stuff, kind of chewy space opera. This is supposedly space opera with brains as well as brawn. We'll see. I think we're going to go back to a bit of shelf footage now, so enjoy it, and then we'll come back to actual books.
Morning.
Jack McDevitt, Hercules Text.
Yep.
Heard of that? I think Steve Andrews at Outlaw Bookseller reviewed that. Ian MacDonald, so I think that's an early Ian MacDonald. There's a couple of Jack McDevitts that I might grab as well. Will McCarthy, that's a Bonanza Week. There's a couple of Paul McCauley's, Eternal Light and Into Everywhere. Now I think, are these the Quiet War books, maybe? I didn't spot that Ken MacLeod there either. Look at that. That's interested in the McCaffrey, but there's a few books there I might very well be interested in. I've got a copy of that Fritz Lieber. I've read that, and I have a copy. Horror. More horror. Dean Koontz. I saw this last time I was here, and it is Narvleet, but I've got a copy of that in a vintage format, which I'll hang on to, I think. Those would be good. First 2 of the Honorverse. Don't have those, but I'd like to read them. And there's a couple of Werner Vinges. I've got a Deepness in the Sky in a hardback, but I don't have that one. Bruce, my goodness me. Hit the mother load here. So it's a Bruce Sterling and a Charles Sheffield. I've got Hyperion. There's another Charles Sheffield. Don't know about Robert Reed. Might have a closer look. I've got I Am Legend. I've got a Canticle Leap for Leibowitz, but that's actually a nice copy. I might have a look at that. Michael Moorcock. I've got that Niven. I don't know if I've got that one there. Yeah, I have World of Pataz, I think. I have to check. So there's a few possibles there. Don't Nice copy of Hard to Be a God. That's quite unusual, don't often see those in hardback. I've got that in hardback. I'll have a look at that just because it's in hardback. And I've got those two Neil Asher books, I think, in a hardback. I also have that in hardback. Quite a bumper week. Right, I'm going to have a closer look at the shelves. So I picked up a couple of Jack McDevitts. The first of them is the Hercules Text, which is a book that I first heard Steve Andrews talking about on his channel, Outlaw Bookseller, as a pretty good book, I think he said. And so I've been looking out for it, and here it is in pretty nice condition. It's a little bit creased on the spine, but not massively obviously so. So what have we got here? From a remote corner of the galaxy, the beats of an X-ray pulsar become odd, irregular, artificial. It can only be a code, and suddenly, with the realization that sends shockwaves through the research team listening, they know that a message is being sent. Frantically, they struggle to decipher the alien communication. The possibilities seem endless. Their lust for knowledge is infinite. The potential for technological advance is limitless as the vastness of space itself. But what the scientists discover is destined to shake the very foundations of empires around this world, from Wall Street to the Vatican. So I guess that's the societal impact of realizing that we're not alone. And then there's also Slow Lightning by Jack McDevitt, which is seemingly another First Contact story. We are alone in the universe, or are we? After 1,000 years of searching, humankind believes that there's simply nothing out there. Space is magnificent but sterile. Wilderness. That's the received wisdom anyway. But a new expedition investigating a mysteriously aborted mission from 27 years earlier is about to turn that wisdom on its head. So I don't think that's related to the Hercules Text. I'm not 100% sure. So this one dates back to the year 2000, and the Hercules Text to before that, I think, yeah, the 1980s. So I don't think they're related. They're just two different First Contact type stories. And then I found, let's see, Will McCarthy's To Crush the Moon, which I think is the second or third. Well, it's the last one anyway of the Queendom of Soul series, of which I think there are three. Yeah. So the first one is the Collapsium, which I have in hardback now, and then the Wellstone, and then Lost in Transition, and then this one. So perhaps this is the fourth in that case, I surmise. To Crush the Moon. Don't know much about it. I haven't read the first one yet, so I don't know. Allegedly a good writer, so I'm looking forward to those. And then we've got Ken MacLeod's Execution Channel, which is not a space opera-y, spacey, wacy book. It is set on Earth as sort of post 9/11 thing, I guess. Fighting is spread across the Middle East and Central Asia. Images of official executions circulate on the internet. State agencies sponsor conspiracy theories as cover-ups. Blah, blah, blah. James Travis is a middle manager in a software company. He has a son in the army, a daughter in a peace protest camp. Blah, blah, blah. And a compromising relationship with the Foreign Intelligence Service. And when his cover is blown hours before a nuclear explosion destroys the base, the Travis family finds itself in serious trouble. So this feels like a sort of homeland security, paranoia, conspiracy, extreme security thing. So a bit of a departure perhaps for Ken MacLeod. But I like his writing, so I should enjoy reading that. And I got a couple of Paul Macaulay's. So there is Eternal Light. Pretty austere cover. And then Into Everywhere, which might be related to something coming through, because I think this is the same artwork and similar sort of Jackaroo related. So I think it's a follow-on of some kind to this one, annoyingly in different size paperback. Yeah, so that's a follow-on to that other book, it seems. And this one, Eternal Light, is I think a standalone or singleton. In the aftermath of an interstellar war, an enigmatic star is discovered, travelling towards the solar system from the galactic core. Its appearance adds a new and dangerous factor in the turbulent politics of the inhabited worlds, as the rival factions all see advantages to be gained. But what awesome tech started the star on its journey 500,000 years ago, and why? So I don't think that's, I think it's, like I say, I think it's a singleton. I don't think it's related to the Jackaroo books. This one was published in, now interestingly, this is in Golank's space opera collection, which I didn't know existed, which has got some pretty cool books in it. It's got the Centauri device, Century Reign, Eon, Eternal Light, Ilium, so that's Eternal Light, Ilium, Last and First Men, Rendezvous with Rama, Ringworld, Stone, and Tau Zero. So I wonder if they are a matching set. I might feel inclined to collect them now. What else we got? These are books that I've been wanting to get hold of for a while. I'm keen to read them. They sound like they might be up my street. I mean, I think they're pretty sort of run-of-the-mill, shall we say, space opera. Nothing particularly special about them, but, well, apart from the fact that they have a female lead character, that's quite unusual. So on Basilisk Station by David Webber, that's the first one of the so-called Honorverse series, which has Honor Harrington as the main character. And then there's the Honor of the Queen, which is the second one. So it's books 1 and 2 in the Honorverse series, of which there are many. So these are military science fiction / space opera. And rather ambitious on the back of this one, it says Star Wars as it might have been written by C.S. Forster. Fast-paced entertainment. So I think it's kind of popcorn, page-turner type territory that we're in there, and that's okay with me. I'm quite looking forward to reading those. Vernor Vinge, Across Real Time, which I think is a novel rather than short stories. Yeah. So this is Vernor Vinge, he of the Fire Upon the Deep and Deepness in the Sky. I don't think this is related to those. I think it's an entirely separate tale. He has created a galaxy to believe in, immense, ancient, dotted with wonders, with some of the best conceived aliens to appear in recent years. A tale that burns with the brazen energy of the best space operas of the Golden Age. So I don't know if that relates to this one or his other books. It's a little bit creased on the spine, which implies that it was well read, which is a good sign, I suppose. Then we've got an early book from Bruce Sterling, The Artificial Kid. Shallow seas, coral atoll continents, flying islands. This is the world of reverie. The Artificial Kid is its most notorious video star, a professional combat artist who tapes his acts of violence for sale to an avid public. But the kid's affluent lifestyle is less predictable than he imagines, especially when he has to flee from the cabal with Moses, newly emerged from 700 years of suspended animation. Then, the mysterious forces that come into play have drastic effects both on him and the lovely St. Anne Twiceborn. So, I don't know if that's kind of a cyberpunk type thing. Let me know if you've read it. I don't know anything about it. I'm yet to read any book. I've got a couple of Bruce Sterling books now I should tuck into. There's another author that I want to tick off my list of shame next year. And then we've got talking of authors I need to tick off my list of shame, is Cordwainer Smith. With a pretty miniature book. It's a very small format. There's a US, yes, an ACE, so it's mini kind of A format. Quest of the Three Worlds, the Gem Planet, the Storm Planet, and the Sand Planet. One of them holds a secret. Somebody has to go find it. One of the most strikingly imaginative writers of our time, packed with concepts not to be found in other writers' works, filled with the widescreen imagery of a universe that is logical, perilous, and yet always truly of the future in every way. The saga of The Quest of the Three Worlds is a constant display of science-fictional fireworks. So I hear really good things about Cordwainer Smith, so I must get on that as soon as I can next year. Yet another author that's on my list of shame that I might try and tick off next year is Michael Moorcock, The Rituals of Infinity in this case. I think this is pre-science fiction-y. Nearly 3 decades since the discovery of the subspatial alternates, 24 lumps of matter hanging in a limbo outside space and time, each sharing the name of Earth. Now there are only 15 of them, the rest blown to extinction by the ruthless attacks of the D-squads, etc, etc, etc. So I don't know if that is a Moorcock multiverse book or if it's a standalone or what. Very faded on the spine, unfortunately. And I've got 2 Robert Reed books, which I understand are part of the Great Ship saga. So you got Marrow, was the first one. The second one is The Well of Stars, so which follows on. I think it's direct sequel. So the deal with this is this massive kind of Death Star thing that you can see there in the picture is a great ship, and it is home to 1,000 alien races and a near immortal crew who have no knowledge of its origins or its purpose. And at its core lies a secret as ancient as the universe, and it's about to be unleashed. And there's David Brin says on the back, it's relentless, taking on vast reaches of space and time with a giant ship like none you've ever seen. A bold work by a visionary writer. And then Stephen Baxter says, with his command of prose, characterization and ideas, Robert Reed is the new century's most compelling science fiction voice. Marrow is the highest of high concepts, one of the most original visions in a long while. So, you know, he's got a pretty good cheer squad. Again, let me know if you've read these, if I'm in for a treat or if they're a dud. And then the last book from this little trip, but not the last in this haul, so don't go away. I was quite excited to find this. It's not the kind of thing you expect to see in a charity shop, even one that has a pretty good flow of science fiction like this one does. What I found was a UK first edition hardback of Hard to Be a God by the Strugatsky brothers. It's in pretty much perfect condition. There's nothing wrong with it. The spine is good. It's tight. The text block is fine. Maybe a tiny bit of discoloration, but really not much. It's pretty bright. The back's in good nick as well. No lean. There's a little bit of sort of just aging on the inside papers, but otherwise it's absolutely fine. So this was from 1975, published by Air Methuen, and it's not price clipped. You could have got this 40 odd years ago for £3.35. I paid £2.49 for it. You see it for sale on eBay. Whether it actually sells for this amount is another thing, but you see it sold or listed for in excess of £200 in good condition like this. So if I was minded to sell it, which I'm not, I could probably get quite a lot more at least than the £2.49 that I paid for it. Really nice condition, really good book. Apparently a good book too. So I've read what's their popular one? Oh, Roadside Picnic. I've read that, and apparently this is very good as well. And then I was perusing the shelves of the Oxfam, just a regular Oxfam charity shop near where I work, and I found a few things. This is an ex-library book, but Charles Eric Main, The Random Factor, by Hodder and Stoughton. So that is, there's no dust jacket, it's printed directly on the outside cover. It's a little bit tatty, and it's got the usual kind of stamps and business that you get with a library book, but it's in okay condition. It's not an author I'm familiar with. And then I don't normally pick up science fiction book club books just because I'm unforgivably snobby about them, but I was interested in this one. It's an early Ben Bova, what's it called? The Weather Makers, and it is from originally, I think, the 60s, so it would have been one of his early books, I think. Yeah, 67. And some of it I think was published as short stories. When Ted Marrett is fired from the Weather Bureau's Climate Division after an argument with his head, he attempts to continue his work at another company. Blah, 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 blah. So this is about drought, climate change, and then weather control, which then gets turned into a classified military program with all the clashes that go with that. It's a rather austere cover with the Science Fiction Book Club logo on it. Interesting though. And then I also found CJ Cherry, Heavy Time. Again, it's a hardback, it's a first edition, which this is a book in her the same universe as Down Below Station, so in the kind of Union Alliance universe. That's what it's called, isn't it? It's one of the earlier ones, I think. There's loads of them in the universe. So this one was published in the early 90s. I've actually no idea where it comes. I think she writes them so that you can pretty much read them as standalone books. You might lose a bit of the sort of background context, but you can crack on with them in any order. So I should tuck into. I've got a couple. I've got the whole of the Big Sayin book and a couple of others, but I'm pleased to get that in a nice first edition hardback. Again for £2.49, can't argue with that. And then I've got an addition to my pan lozenge collection. This is pretty tatty. It was listed as acceptable, so I knew it was going to be a bit ropey, but it's quite hard to find in good condition. Pretty faded and crease on the spine, and it's got a bit of lean to it as well. But another one ticked off the list. Like I've said, I'm going for completeness initially, and then I'll worry about upgrading them to good condition books. But that'll do. So that takes me to 50 of the 80, I think. Well, that's everything. Thank you for watching as always. I will see you in the new year. Have a wonderful Christmas, Happy New Year, Happy Holidays, all of that jazz, and I'll see you on the other side. Bye for now.